this week's video, I am going to tell you about the hole in my skull. And for my fellow weirdos out there that want to see what my skull looks like now, you will have to wait until the end of the video to see a photo of what my skull looks like now. My story starts when I was 17 and I was a rebellious little shit of a teenager and I like to break the rules. On New Year's Eve 2007, I was drinking and I was basically wasted. I got kicked out of the local pub and ended up in my upstairs flat, and me being blind drunk and out of it, I decided, I wonder if it's a good idea to walk along the roof. No, not a very good idea. So I went out onto my balcony, climbed over the railings, walked along the roof and fell. As I fell, I hit the back of my head on the brick awning and I hit my head on the butcher's roof. I split the skin away from my skull and split my skull in multiple places. And then landing legs first, face down, the only thing keeping me alive at this point was somebody holding my head together to keep my brain from falling out. Literally. And this was the night that I died. Now that is a story for another video, but this week gonna talk about the hole in my skull. I was airlifted by care flight to the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital in Sydney, where I was placed under an induced coma. Now, because of the damage to my brain, it was very, very, very bad. So the doctors gave my parents the option to turn the life support off. Now, thankfully, they didn't turn it off. While I was in a coma, I developed a subdural hematoma, which is basically the blood in my brain swelling and it had nowhere to go. So the alternative to my brain basically exploding was the doctors drilling a piece of my skull. Just here on my skull, there is about a thumb size piece of my skull that is missing. It is basically like the tender spot on a baby, the little squishy spot on the top of their head. Basically, long story short, if somebody very, very viciously stabbed me in the skull with a pen, or a pair of scissors are probably going to poke through into my brain. So for a while after they had drilled my skull, I had a tube coming out of my actual skull. So a tube into my brain to relieve the fluid and the pressure on my brain. I ended up with basically a part of my hair that they had shaved off where they had to drill in. As far as I know now, I don't have any long-term damage from my brain injury. It's taken me, I think it took me about 6 years after my brain injury for me to fully comprehend a conversation and understand things and be able to remember what I'm saying. Now, this video, alright, these get edited a crap load because I always get halfway confused, and as I'm saying something, I might forget what I'm saying, I might have to go back, I might have to fully change the sentence and what I'm saying because my brain does get a little bit confused. A few years ago when I went on holiday to Queenstown in New Zealand, I wanted to do the Nether Swing. And I was so disappointed that the doctor would not allow me to do it because the people that did the swing, they had to get a doctor's certificate because of me being in a wheelchair. Now, the doctor wrote about me having a traumatic brain injury. And because of the fact that I've had the subdural hematoma, there is a slight chance that if I was to do a bungee jump or a swing like the Nether Swing, it could make my brain explode. And I was really, really disappointed that I couldn't do the swing. I was so psyched up to do it. I was terrified, but dear Lord, I wanted to do it. And now, as promised, this is what my skull looks like now. I do have skin around it, and all of the hair around it basically stopped growing. Just here, my hair sort of goes up and over where they drilled my skull. If you liked this video, please be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you next week.